But it's just it's the whole sacrifice thing again. I don't want to keep coming back to this, but for example, one of my characters, his name is Outrage. He is when I first started him, he was basically a great white shark. You know, he didn't have a lot of depth to them. He was a one-note character. He was a psychotic killer.
Although, I will say, I do remember some of your early threads with Outrage, and I remember, one of the early ones where he was, he kind of hijacked a cop car while the cop was in it or something.
Yeah, that was a pure XP thread.
Yeah, but I remembered it, though, because I remember you and the character who plays the cop, Jester, and I don't know if we're referring to him or not, so bleep that out if you gotta.
Ask promo for him.
Yeah.
Annotation down below.
But, I remember you guys actually, working with each other to make a longer, post where your characters talked back and forth.
Back and forth, yeah.
And I was still relatively new to forum roleplay at that time, and I remember seeing that, and I just thought, wow, that's actually a really good idea. Because usually one of the biggest problems with a paragraph roleplay, and I found out that it is a term, para roleplay is, it's its own specific thing, is that you can't, sometimes having back and forth conversations can be a bit weird, especially if you have things like time zone differences.
Yeah.
On our site, we have people from Britain, Denmark, both sides of the United States,
the U.S., yeah.
Canada. We have people all over the fucking place. So, sometimes you get a good system going, but sometimes it's very scattershot.
Yeah, and that particular thread, I know the one now. I thought you were talking about the one where he actually, my XP thread, where he hijacked a cop car and...
Oh, no.
That was horrible. I was not happy with that, but
I can't.
I hoard them out.
I can't remember that one, so I can only take your
Thank God, that was awful. But no, that one in particular, I mean, we were, I would post something and we had a rule that we could not post anything under a paragraph.
Yeah.
It had to be, 2 or 3 paragraphs minimum at the time?
On the site?
Yeah.
In general? I think...
I mean, it's lax some since then. I'm
not sure, as long as I've been a manager anyways, I don't remember there ever being, that specific of a thing. We do say stuff you can't, put, a single sentence. I think, in general, the minimum we try to, quote, enforce is something like 200 words. You can get away with a post shorter than that, but it's not, there's not really much for somebody to respond to there. It gets very, okay, you posted, but you basically said, still here.
Yeah.
You might as well have just literally OOC written, my character's over there.
Yeah, pretty much. But that night in particular, me and him were kind of talking via Skype, just texting back and forth. And it's just dude, we're both kind of in that zone. Things lined up perfectly, and we're just hey, why don't we just do this and then do a big post, and we just split the XP.
Yeah.
And that was actually some pretty good XP. I mean, some good story there.
Yeah, it's always nice when you can get a good story that also has those, rewards of XP and all that. And, it goes quickly, when you get that, all 3 going, it's a really good thing.
It is. And it's just a lot of times, once again, due to, real life, people's schedules, it's hard to get that going sometimes.
Yeah, especially, I used to use Marvels as kind of a retreat, I guess, because when I went to college, I was going to college for writing. And so a lot of my work in school was doing this very, I had to think about it a lot, and I had to really put effort into it. And not saying I don't put any effort into Marvels, or didn't, but it was a kind of a more casual environment, where I only had to worry, I really only had to worry about my character, and I didn't have to worry about making everything work perfectly for the next 15 pages. I just had to worry about, like, right there, right now, and it was an escape, but still along the same lines of something I enjoy. So, it was, and I don't have that now. So...
But, yeah. It is. I mean, basically that's what roleplay is. It's an escape device.
Yeah.
You know, it lets you get out of your head for a while, you know, so you don't have to worry, rough day, whatever, or, hell, even just a creative device. It's relaxation. It's enjoyment. It's fun.
Yes. And it can, like, some people will take it seriously because we do get invested in the stories, especially.
Oh, hell yeah!
Especially with a site that's been going as long as Marvel's has. It's been going for a little over 6 years now, and it's been
almost 7.
It will be 7 next November, and
it's getting there.
It's getting there, and it does have a continuous storyline. Like, it's been the same story. We've had relatively few major retcons. We're doing better than Marvel Comics itself is, I think.
Which is sad, really.
Hey, at least in Marvel Comics' defense, they're still doing better than DC.
That's pretty snug.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ouch.
But especially with that in mind, some of these characters have been going about just as long. People get really invested in the story, but we are all there to have fun at the end of the day.
Yeah, because that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
And if you can get a damn good story out of it, even better.
Exactly.
Like, for example, one of my favorite stories that you and I have done would be the Exile in Captain America.
Yes, those were some prime interaction right there.
Because those two had so much in common, yet they were so different.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Captain America, he's out of time. Well, actually, take a minute. Explain your Captain America.
Honestly, I'll be honest, my Captain America isn't that much different from what you might see. Like, I'd say the closest version that people might be familiar with is actually the movie version, because the classic Captain America, he was thawed from his being frozen in the 40s. He was thawed in the 70s?
Yeah, so he really wasn't out of action too long.
Yeah, like the world changed, but it wasn't that huge of a shift, like technology had advanced, but there wasn't a whole lot of new technology. It was more just improvements on the old technology. Planes got faster. Ships got sleeker. But
radios got smaller.
Yeah, but computers still weren't a big thing. Like, we didn't have cell phones yet. Not really in the 70s. Stuff like that. Yeah. But this Captain America, he comes about in, I think, I'm doing very rough math here, but if I recall, 2007, 2008.
Yeah.
And that's a very different world from the 1940s, and very similar to the Captain America in the movies. The biggest difference is my Captain America was very much a soldier. Yes, he still has that same aspects that draw me to Captain America, that he's about freedom and liberty and justice before anything else. But he's a soldier. He thinks of himself as a soldier, not a hero. And, that does lead to some conflict because he follows orders. That tends to be his thing.
Yeah.
And
because that's what you do.
Yeah, that's what you do when you're a soldier. You don't question. You assume, for him, I guess a kind of blind faith that his superiors knew more than he did about things. And that has been tested in recent plot points, which I won't go into too much detail with. But to say the least, yeah, he's getting to the point that the common Captain America is, where he's thinking for himself more. That's the difference with mine, anyways.
Yeah. I mean, that's one of the reasons why I enjoy interacting with him so much. With my character, who's cheap cop-out, is the it's how can I?
He's an alternate
universe version of the psychotic character Outrage.
Yes.
Where he, little instances in his life, he grew up as a completely different person. He grew up, wanting to use his powers, his gifts to actually help people because, he had a better upbringing.
He became an X-Man.
He became an X-Man.
That'd be one easy way to put it.
Yeah,
he's less Sabretooth, more Wolverine.
Actually, not even Wolverine.
Well, yeah, I know, but
he's kind of like more of a fun. He's more of a fun version of Scott.
Yeah, okay.
If Scott had a personality, it would be Exile.
My Scott has a personality.
Yes, your Scott. We'll get into that in a minute. But yes, I call him Exile because originally I called him Outrage because that's what he called himself. That's kind of sticking point with a lot of Marvel characters.
Yeah.
Even in other dimensions, Wolverine is still Wolverine.
Yeah, for some reason.
But they call him Outrage for a completely different reason, and the name's stuck. And then he teams up with the Exiles, which is a great comic book if you can go out and find it. And he winds up in the universe that Marvel's takes place in, and he's stuck there forever.
Yep.
And so he's dealing with he's away from his as far as he knows, his family, his friends, his entire world, his universe is gone and destroyed.
Yeah.
Never existed. He doesn't know.
And it's nearly impossible to find out.
Yeah, it is impossible for him to find out. That's something else that's eating him up. And at least with Cap, he can open up a book. Oh,
you can open up a book and see everybody he knows is dead. Yay! Yeah. At least I know.
Know they dead, and he knows they're dead. He knows what kind of life they lived, and this, he has that amount of closure.
Yes, that is true.
Exile doesn't.
Yeah.
Which is kind of tragic because there was a great thread between the two where, Exile was actually contemplating committing suicide.
Yep.
Because of the situation he was in, and along comes Cap.
Yeah, I'm a little hating on exactly what happened, but yeah, Cap did his best to try to snap him out of it, if I recall.
Yeah, almost put him through a wall too.
Was it Cap putting him through a wall, or Exile putting Cap through a wall?
It was Cap putting him through the wall because they, Exile mouthed off to him, and then Cap was like, "What?"
That's right. Okay.
Hell, you say to me, soldier?
Pretty much. Yeah. That's the difference between my Cap and movie Cap, at the very least.
And I still remember IMing you at that point. It's like, oh fuck, we should have him get in a fight. It'd be awesome.
Yeah, Captain America versus a super strong thunder shooting guy.
Undershoot.
Well, I was going to say Thunder God, but I didn't want people to make the Thor connection.
But that's still one of my favorite threads.
Yeah.
Every now and then I'll go back and read it.
I've for the same reasons, I've also liked the interactions between Exile and Iron Cross, a different character of mine. Similar history to... I won't delve into it, because I feel like we've gushed quite a bit about our characters.
We haven't even started that yet.
Yeah, well, okay. But I won't get into Iron Cross. Look him up. You'll get the general idea. But, yeah, basically Captain America from the other side of the war. And, so he has some similar points of view, but he's a different person from Cap. And I feel like his interactions with Exile have been in a similar manner. Because all of them have that same, they're not in the world they used to know.
Right.
And they've all lost that world.
Which is great.
With varying degrees of closure.
Yeah, exactly. Which, once again, makes for some phenomenal writing.
Yes.
Until other people pop in.
Let's not get into that.
No, we won't. Not that I'm complaining, but there has been other threads where it's what was that one thread? Outrage and Psylocke at the diner.
Oh, okay, I know what you're saying.
Yeah, that thread. And then all these. I mean, there was one of my other characters was having a chance run-in with a different character, Psylocke,
Right.
who was once again completely different from the comic book Psylocke, but still the same.
Yeah.
If you go to the site, annotation down below. If you go to the site, read some of the bios, you'll understand.
Long story
anyway,
short, Psylocke, evil in this one, more or less.
Very,
So,
very self-serving evil.
Yes, very.
Which works for that character very well.
Yeah, I'd say so.
But anyway, there was a chance encounter, and everything was doing fine. Then someone brought a bunch of their characters into the same diner.
I'm trying to remember exactly what happened. I don't think I was involved in that one, though.
No, you weren't, but you did bring in the Ultimates.
I think I did send in the Ultimates, which are, for the record, they're basically our version of the Avengers. We're going more off the Ultimate series of comics, which are a little different, but we won't get into that. You know,
a little more realistic.
Yeah, you either know what we're talking about or you don't. In which case, if you don't, they're basically the Avengers from the movies. You probably know about that.
Right.
So
use Google.
Yes.
You'll find out.
Use Google, young man. Or woman.
Yeah,
probably not.
Hopefully we get a good paycheck for saying that.
Google. Hey,
Google. Anyway.
But
yeah.
I believe, I think it was brought up to me and somebody asked if it made sense for them to interfere, and I believe my response was something along the lines of, well, Outrage isn't exactly unknown entity, and I think you said like his hair was dyed or something.
No, that was a different thread.
Okay, but either way, okay, so his hair wasn't dyed, so there's like this 7-foot tall...
He was in New York. He's a internationally wanted criminal.
Yeah. 7 feet tall, white hair, very, like, telling scars. Like, he's not somebody who blends in. And I think I had to say, like, yeah, okay, if they see him there, if they notice him there, they're probably going to do something about it.
Exactly. Especially since he's attacked New York a few times with the help of the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants.
Mm-hmm.
As well as, his nationwide rampage. Yeah, people recognize him.
Yeah, so that's one of those times when, like, yeah, that probably did interfere with the roleplay actually happening, but at the same time, we do exist in a universe where this shit doesn't happen in a bubble, and if your character does do something really super horrible, there are consequences for it.
There will be repercussions.
Especially in New York City, which is the home of, like, every single
everybody,
superhero.
Yeah.
It's like, if you're you're pretty much walking into the, like, you're laying down with your head in the lion's mouth and your legs in the crocodile's mouth, okay? That's what you're doing here. And then if you complain about being bitten, you only have yourself to blame.
Yourself to blame, yes. I wish people would understand that.
Yeah, so, like, it can suck, but it's like, if you really want to have your evil characters have a chat somewhere, or do something, go to, like, Indiana, or, like, Nepal, or somewhere far away.
Yeah, someplace that, they won't recognize you.
Exactly.
But, I made the mistake, because, it's a learning process.
Yeah. And it's like, you did still have a thread before that. Like, it did still happen. Like, you still had that conversation. I don't believe the Ultimates came in as soon as it happened. I feel like, if I remember correctly, it took a while. So, it wasn't...
And even then, it wasn't just, boom, in through the wall, haha, we've caught you now. It's like, no. They stationed themselves up on a rooftop?
I don't remember.
Close to the area, and they were actually surveillancing the area. It's like, reports have come in, he's at this diner with an unknown woman, blah, blah, blah.
Like that, yeah.
And it worked.
Yeah.
And then, thanks to, the telepath, he was able to get away.
Thank God for telepathy.
Which was brilliant, because I was like, fuck, Outrage is strong, but he can't fight all these guys.
Yeah, no. Get
my ass
a little bit outnumbered there.
It's slightly. I mean, God, you had Namor, Captain America.
I don't think Cap was there because I wasn't in it at that time. Like, I wasn't part of that thread. So Cap...
Still Namor, who's a bit of a badass.
Yeah, there was Namor, Blaze...
Blaze
and... character. Sentry? Was Sentry there?
Sentry, yes.
Yes.
So, yeah, I was already outmatched.
Yeah. I feel like I want to say there was another, but I can't remember who. So
I can't remember either. I'm going to have to go... No, fuck, that wasn't on this site. It was on Casualties of War.
I really can't remember.
Which was the previous Marvel site.
Yeah, that was like the predecessor.
Or Ascend shuts down.
Yeah, that one had a hacking issue too, like blah blah blah.
Yep, going into that.